Hey, this is Annie Veblen McCarty, and I'm going to teach you how to be effortlessly productive. I've been an entrepreneur for over 20 years, and I got sick and tired of experts preaching what business and life should look like and what I should be doing as a leader and to turn a profit, only to find myself wasting time, burned out, feeling inauthentic, and still not making any money. On this show, we are ditching the shoulds. I'm giving you permission to do business differently. As a certified master coach, I believe that everything you need to have success and build the life and business of your dreams is already living on the inside. I'm going to empower you to lean into what you do best, help you see your path forward clearly, and give you the strategy and action steps along the way to become effortlessly productive. Let's dive in. Have you ever been given the advice to just fake it till you make it? Or maybe you've been told in your business, you just need to push through. Today in this episode, we are going to talk about why that is some of the worst advice, why you should never follow that advice, and the actual brain science behind why it does not work to just push through or to feel fake in your business or actually really in anything in life. So let's dive in. Oftentimes, we have to do things where we've never done them before. Maybe it's outside of our comfort zone. And I know for me as an entrepreneur, there were so many times that I was told, you just have to fake it till you make it. You just need to just keep doing the same thing and be here a year from now. And I would do what I was told, even when it didn't feel right, even when I knew that maybe that wasn't the best thing. My intuition was telling me, my gut was telling me that maybe there was a different way. This was what the experts said I needed to do to have success. And oftentimes, what would happen is that would literally lead to either no results at all or not the results that I was expecting, and definitely not the results I was expecting for how much work I was putting in. So I want to talk with you guys today about why this happens. What is actually happening in your brain that is leading to you not having those results or not having that success that you expect. So let's think about if we are told just fake it till you make it or just push through. That is with the understanding that there are certain actions that you are taking that you are not confident with, not comfortable with. Maybe they don't feel authentic, right? Have you ever had a time when you're doing something where you're like, this just does not feel like me? I think that's a very common thing. I do a lot of coaching sessions one-on-one with a lot of entrepreneurs, and this is a very common theme. So first of all, I just want to say you are not alone. And I have also heard this advice handed out all over the place in tons of different industries. So this is not to shame anybody who has said that. In fact, I think that I have probably said to people that I was mentoring before I understood the subconscious mind and what this was doing, you just need to keep pushing through. You just need to keep doing that thing. And what I find, so we usually have one of two reactions. And I will fully admit I've had both reactions. So when I am told to do something in my business, just push through, do this that doesn't feel authentic, I will either stop doing that thing because I'm like, this goes against literally every bone in my body. And there is no way. Like, for example, like maybe you've been told like, oh, you need to like pose this certain way for a social media picture and then send this post out. And it's not any words that actually sound like you or feel like you or things you would actually say or tell people. But you've been told this is the kind of post that you need to make. And this is the kind of picture that you need to take. Or you see influencers who have these posts going viral and they're posing this certain way and you try to do it and it feels so weird and so awkward, but that's what they're doing to have success. So we either get to the point where we're like, I am not going to do the thing It literally goes against everything in my being. So that's one reaction. The other reaction that we have, and I tend to see this in high performers or overachievers like myself, and I have done this so many countless times, where we end up in the place where we are taking those actions. We are very good action takers, right? Us overachievers. However, we often realize that in the phrases I often hear are, I'm just checking the boxes, or I just feel like I'm going through the motions, or I'm just getting through my to-do list as fast as I possibly can just to get it out of the way. And when I hear these things, that tells me that we are doing something, what I like to call taking unaligned action. So let's dive into what is happening in our subconscious brain when we do this. So let's go back to the example I just used of making a post on social media. So we are posing in a way that maybe doesn't feel like us. It doesn't feel natural. It's not something we would normally do. And so we take this picture and we have this write-up that somebody gave us, maybe a post template or an example, or even the advice, which I have also been given, to just copy this post and put it up on social media. Just copy and paste it. It worked really well for somebody else. They went viral. They had tons of comments. They made tons of sales off of this. So we take this picture and we have these words that were not written by us, or maybe we tweaked them. Maybe we put it into our own language, but it's not something that we normally would say. And so we post that on social media. We're going to use the example of somebody who does take that action, that is more of that overachiever. And what happens when we do that, faking it till you make it, or pushing through. So we put this post on social media. When we put that post on social media, there is most likely a thought, whether we are aware of it or not. There is a thought that is going to go through our head. And often I find that, so a term that gets put onto this is imposter syndrome. So let's kind of use that. And so you might have a belief or a thought in your head when you hit that post button. Oh my gosh, I am such an imposter. This is not me. I don't feel like this is my true self. And so when you have that thought, I'm an imposter, it's going to make you feel a certain way. It might make you feel uncomfortable. It might make you feel disappointed in yourself, right? That you're disappointed. It might make you feel doubtful. So let's talk about what is actually happening in your subconscious brain when you fake it till you make it, just push through, or do things that feel inauthentic. So let's go with an example of a business expert has given you a list of things to do in your business for each day, a daily checklist of things that they have found led to success. And so you have this checklist of things that led to success. When you look at that checklist, you are going to have a thought, whether you are aware of that thought or not. You are going to have a thought about that checklist. And so you might have a thought in the back of your mind, or, you might also be aware of this thought too, but you have a belief of these things are not, they don't feel right. These things are not what I think is going to actually work for my business, but I'm going to try it because that's what the expert said I need to do to have success. So you have this thought of, I don't even know if this is going to work for me. This does not feel like me. When you have that thought of this doesn't feel like me, this feels fake, this feels inauthentic, this doesn't feel like something I want to be doing in my business, it creates a feeling, right? That thought is going to trigger a feeling. And so you might have a feeling of being uncomfortable, right? You might have a feeling of doubt. Maybe you have a feeling of a little bit of fear creeping in. And so when we feel doubtful and fearful and inauthentic, what are the actions we take? So if you are an overachiever, you are probably still going to go down that checklist and you are going to complete the actions that are on that checklist. So this is where often I find that overachievers are like, no, but I am doing the things. I am doing all the things, but I'm not getting the results that I want. And there's a disconnect. I often, and I have even said this myself in my own business in the past of, I'm literally doing everything you have told me to do. I just feel like there is a disconnect happening. I don't know where that disconnect is. I don't know why I feel this way, but there's a disconnect. And so we are checking the boxes, but the thing is we are taking these actions that don't feel authentic to ourselves. So the energy that we are bringing to those actions is not going to be, it's not going to be an energy of confidence, right? It's going to be an energy of doubt and questioning and not knowing, not believing that this will work. So maybe you do go through your checklist and you check all the boxes. You probably are not going to be putting as much time, effort, energy, thought into those actions. You might just be like when we talk about just checking the boxes. If it says to reach out to 10 new people on social media, you may not be finding people who are actually going to align with you. You might just be sending 10 messages to random people who are not your ideal client because you are just trying to rush through and get it done. You might be taking other actions, what I call buffering. So you get through your items on the checklist, or maybe you haven't done your checklist yet because it feels weird and you're like, I don't know what these things are. I don't know why I should be doing these. And so you end up doing stuff like cleaning your house or playing with the kids or doing laundry or running errands. And then you get to the end of your day and you're out of time. And again, because you're an overachiever, you're like, I'm just going to rush through this. I'm just going to bang this out real quick. But again, when you get in that position, you are not putting your best energy forth, right? So there are probably also things you are not doing. When we are just going through a checklist and checking the boxes to say that it's done, we are not finding our ideal clients. We are not leaning into the things that we know in our heart, in our gut, are going to lead to success. We are maybe not posting on social media as much. We might not be going live or sharing in our stories or sending emails because we are so focused on just pushing through and getting through this checklist of things that we have been told will lead to success. And we probably also have thoughts that happen as we're doing it. Again, I think I spouted some of the thoughts, but you're just checking the boxes. You might be thinking like, gosh, this message that I'm sending, it just doesn't sound like me. Like, why am I even doing this? There are lots of thoughts that could be going through your head. And so you can probably start to see when we are taking unaligned action, when we are taking those actions where we do not believe that it's going to lead to success, even if that is a very subconscious belief and we aren't fully aware of it, when we are doing things that don't feel like us. Again, we're getting back to that fake it till you make it. When you do things that feel fake or you feel like a fraud when you are doing them, that energy is going to come across. I also have seen times where people are sending these messages that they've been given these scripts. And then when a customer or a client actually talks to the entrepreneur, it's such a different person than what they thought because all of their social media and all of their scripts, it was things that were just given to them and it wasn't theirs. So that's where that disconnect is happening. And so you can see that we are actually manifesting that we are not going to have the results that we want to have in our business. We are not going to have that success. We are just going to continue to feel like a fraud. We are going to continue to have the thought that, oh my gosh, this isn't going to work because it's not working because we don't believe it. So it is very, very important. And I want to offer you a way to get around this, because there are things that we do have to do in business that we have never done before that maybe is out of your comfort zone. I think that there is a difference between faking it till you make it, or just push through, or doing things that don't feel aligned, and saying to yourself when you are operating out of what might be your comfort zone, that's a little bit different, right? If we are feeling uncomfortable, or I should say, and we know, when we say, I know, that's our heart. That's our heart voice talking. So that is our true self. That is coming from a place of purpose and potential and belief and love. So when we say, I know that this is what I need to do, or that I want to do to have success in my business, it just feels a little bit uncomfortable because I've never done this exact thing before. That is a very, very different thought and a very, very different belief than I am doing things that feel fake. I feel like a fraud. You can see how different those beliefs are. And that is why it is so important to operate from that place of, I might be doing something that I have never done before and it feels uncomfortable. However, I know for me in my business, this is a step that I want to be taking in order to grow the business that I love, in order to have that impact on all those people that I want to influence and that I want to change their lives and impact for the better. So that is why it is important to get ourselves into that place and of having that belief that I know this is what is going to have that impact. I know this is what is going to grow my business. So part of it, and this is why business advice can be tough, right? Because experts will tell you, just do these things. However, if everything inside of you is screaming that this is not going to work, it truly is not going to work. If everything inside of you is screaming that you feel like a fraud and a fake, you are going to end up being a fraud and a fake. You are going to manifest that. If you come from a place of believing and checking in with yourself, and this is what I would like to offer you. So you're given this checklist, right? You are given that same checklist by that expert, and you look at it, and maybe there are a couple of things on that list where you say, oh yeah, I can see the potential in that. I can see how that would make an impact on the people that I want to impact, that I want to change their lives, that I want to help. When you know that that is an action that is going to lead to the success that you want to have, that is an important action to take, even if it feels uncomfortable. If you see things on that list where you are like, this does not feel right, there is something in my gut telling me that this is not a direction to go, or you literally don't feel like yourself at all, because not just I'm being stretched and growing through this process, like this does not feel like me, then that is something that I want you to be aware of and realize that maybe that is not the best thing for you. There is not a cookie cutter solution for business. There is not a one size fits all. And that is why it's important to be the CEO of our business, to determine what we believe is going to work for us. Maybe that does work for somebody else, and that is fantastic. They can go do that all day long. But if it is not your thing that is going to lead to that success, every cell in your body is screaming that this is not the right thing to do or to try. It is okay to say no to those things. It is okay to experiment and try and go forward with the things that do feel aligned and see what results those get you. So I hope that this episode helped today just to understand why sometimes that advice of just fake it till you make it, and not sometimes, all the time, that advice of just fake it till you make it, just push through. If it is something that is completely inauthentic and unaligned to you, leave that thing and go out there and explore. There are so many different ways that we can build our business, and it doesn't have to look like the next person. We are not all the same person. So what works for them is not necessarily going to work for you. And what works for you is not necessarily going to work for them either. So it is okay. I am giving you permission to, yes, experiment. Yes, do things that you've never done before. Yes, be a little bit uncomfortable. Get out of that comfort zone. However, I'm giving you permission to say no to the things that feel so completely unaligned and unlike you that you just know in your heart are not what you should be doing. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. We are going to continue in this podcast to dive into that subconscious belief, because belief is really behind what drives our behavior. We do not take action without first having a belief, about having a thought about it. And so it's really important to understand how this all interacts and why if we're getting results that we don't like and we don't want, where those results came from. They came from a belief. And so when we can choose a different thought, like I'm going to find the things that are going to impact the people that I want to make an impact on, that is where we get to really go out and do what we want to do and have the results that we want to have. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, if you had a moment of clarity, if you suddenly realized why all of those things that you've been doing have not been working, I would love for you to drop a comment, leave a review, and I cannot wait to catch you in the next episode. Have a beautiful day.